In this video, I interview Kamaka, the owner of Battlefield's Premier League. We talk about the state of Battlefield 5 competitive play. If you go on to enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. First off, I think a lot of people aren't that interested in competitive play for, say, a Battlefield game, but say just explain sort of why or what, say, competitive play would look like in BF5 and sort of why it's important.
Yeah, of course. So basically, competitive play is like the base game in terms of the game mode, but it's on a lot higher of a skill level.
Yeah.
Basically, the players, all their aim is on point. Their tactics are on point, unbeatable, and stuff like that. It's basically your ideal Battlefield game, except there's basically nothing different. Yeah. It's just basically your ideal Battlefield game.
Yeah, you're with players that are of a similar skill to you. So it's sort of, because, I mean, for me, it's like getting put in with teams that just are terrible and you're just getting absolutely destroyed, and it's just not a fun experience. So I think having, say, competitive play, I think that could be good to, say, put you with players that are of a similar skill based or a similar skill, and overall it should make your experience a lot more enjoyable.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's sort of like a ranking system in like Rainbow Six Siege or something like that, as we were talking about before the video. The casual play in Rainbow Six Siege, it can be fun sometimes, but sometimes you just get put with the most brain dead people and you just get absolutely dumped on. And so that's not really that fun. No. But in ranked play, you're given a skill level like bronze, silver, platinum, gold, diamond, stuff like that. And you're put with people of a similar skill level and against people of a similar skill level. And most people, if they're good, will invite you to a party. So they'll be like, or you'll just queue up with a bunch of friends that are of your same skill level. And then you guys communicate. It'll be on like a higher plane of existence, if you will, than the regular game. And that's what competitive is.
But I think also some people would also argue that, say, having casual play, because it puts you with random players and sometimes those players aren't that good, they sort of enjoy that experience where you just absolutely destroy people. So, like, what would you say to that? Would you say, you know, would you rather want that, or would you want, say, a game that's equally balanced and, you know, a lot more even, where people are capturing the points and, you know, you don't have them brain dead players? Like, I think most people would, say, enjoy that experience where you go with a team that's sort of equally matched, but I think there's also people that sort of enjoy that feeling where you just absolutely tear another team apart.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I'm not saying that casual play doesn't have its place. What I'm saying is that, well, casual fun is all good and fun, but I would say that there's not enough people to fill up the space of a similar skill level if you do so desire and have that. And I would say that it's more fun dumping on people of a similar skill level than people who are brain dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. DICE haven't implemented a rent-a-server program. So what does that sort of mean for competitive play? So
as of right now, competitive play is on public servers. Basically what we have to do is we queue up at the same time. Usually it'll put us all on the same server, and the server will usually fill up with random people. And what we do is one side will just communicate together. It won't spawn in, and one of the sides won't spawn in, and they'll just let the other team full of competitive players just absolutely beat the crap out of the random players, and then they'll just rage quit, and we keep doing that until the teams are filled up. It takes any time between the shortest time it's taken us is 5 minutes, but the longest time it's taken us is 40 minutes.
Wow.
But we are very patient.
Wow, yeah, from the sounds of that. So you literally, to get a competitive game going, you've got to get rid of all the other players so that you can get your competitive match going, which, like, that should not be happening. You should have a rent-a-server program where you have the ability to turn off certain things, where you can ban certain guns, where you can turn off vehicles, stuff like that. I think that is such an important feature that needs to be well, to make any competitive play fun, like a rent-a-server program is a must. And you see that in other games as well, which for me, I don't understand why DICE haven't done it. Why don't you think a rent-a-server program has been implemented?
Honestly, dude, I just don't see a good reason for not having a rental server program. Maybe it's because DICE doesn't thinks they can get away without having it. They probably just don't see the huge amount of people that rely on rent-a-server programs, not just for competitive, but for the milsim community. They like to have their own servers with their own settings.
Yeah, definitely.
The hardcore community like to have their own servers, and I know of a few communities that just like to have their own, like, there's like BFLN, Battlefield Ladies Night, they like to have their own.
So also,
I just don't know a good reason.
No, I don't, and I think it's so stupid. So what's required for a competitive game to succeed?
Well, basically, you've got to make sure that you really hone in on those elements of, well, basically rules for competitive, while you also stay true to the game's base features. Now, what I mean by rules for competitive, you have to really promote, you have to take out any guns that promote casual play, like shotguns, the MMGs, for example. They don't really require a lot of skill, and therefore they shouldn't be allowed in competitive play, which is what we do. Also, any gadgets or anything like that, like trip mines or anything like that,
AP
that don't
mines.
promote competitive play.
Yeah.
AP mines.
Oh, God.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
you gotta take stuff like that out. So there has to be a competitive rule set, stuff that encourages competitive play while taking out the casual elements of the games. But another huge thing is that it has to encourage teamwork while promoting individual skill. It has to have a good balance of both. Now, you can, in theory, have large-scale competitive, but you can't make the map too big or too small for that. Now, if you make the map too small, it'll really just crowd things up and decrease the ability for individual skill to make a difference in the game.
Yeah.
So, like, say you took 32 players and you put them on a Star Wars Battlefront original map. How would that look? It would look pretty bad, right?
It would look pretty bad.
Because there's no room, because there's no room for individual skill.
Yeah.
But say you took like 5 players from Rainbow Six Siege and you put them on Narvik. That would be really, really bad also, because it's just
so you have to get the balance, don't you?
Yeah, you have to find a balance to where you can also have those awesome moments where he's like, oh, he takes down 1, takes down 2, takes down 3, stuff like that. But you also have to have it to where teamwork is also encouraged and a pivotal role. And another thing that's really freaking important for a game to be competitive is it has to be competitive. It has to meet all those things that I mentioned before of having a competitive rule set that's not casual, and being a good balance of teamwork and individual skill while also maintaining its truth to its own self.
So there is quite a bit of a niche sort of market for competitive play in Battlefield 5, but it hasn't become mainstream yet. So like how do you think that DICE could make competitive play in Battlefield 5 mainstream?
Well, I think that if they could introduce something to the main game, like some sort of competitive mode, like not necessarily incursions, but like what they did with incursions, they put in an MMR system, which is basically something that they use to rank you. You get a certain number of points for playing well, you lose them for playing bad, and they use that to rank you against other players and to put you against players of a similar skill set.
Yeah, I totally
agree with that. It's
basically
what any competitive game does.
Yeah.
And basically I would like for them to also come out with a competitive mode. Like Squad Conquest is a perfect example of that. It was a great mode for competitive, and that's what a lot of the players are looking forward to coming back with, is Squad Conquest.
It's like, also I don't understand why they took all that time on incursions and just never implemented it into Battlefield 5. Like, why do you think they put all that time into Battlefield 1's incursions? Because to me it seemed like they were testing it to get it ready for Battlefield 5, but then why didn't they implement it?
I honestly think it's because they didn't get the impact that they wanted on the Battlefield community at large. We did have quite a few players that would play it, but those are mostly the competitive guys. And I think that the main issue was that they didn't import it over to the main game, and it was its own individual client.
Yeah.
It kind of segregated itself from the main game, and it really hurt itself with its playable potential that way.
But I understand that they were testing it, but then why didn't they just bring it into the main game? It just didn't make any sense. I know they probably didn't get the impact that they wanted, but surely they should have just made it more widespread and just, go, here you go, guys, give us some feedback on it.
Honestly, man, I do have a theory. You know how it does say new mode in those Tides of War updates?
Yeah. Oh,
I have a feeling that it might be a revised form of incursions or something like that.
I think you might be right there. Yeah, you might be right. I was thinking, what could possibly be the new game modes? And it kind of makes sense to bring back a more revived and probably a more refined version of incursions. So that could possibly, I think that could make sense actually. Finally, as we wrap the interview up, Kamaka, just explain who you are and how the league is doing to sort of get a sense of how competitive play is doing in Battlefield 5.
Okay, so first I will talk about myself. My name is Kamaka. I am not only a student in college and a worker, but I also do, in my free time, competitive Battlefield. I run the league, and I also shoutcast for the league. So if you guys want to see any of that stuff, the name of the league is Battlefield Premier League. I've said it a couple times in the interview already, but just to nail it home, Battlefield Premier League is the league that I represent and I cast for. But yeah, the league is doing very fantastic right now. We're really thriving. Got a 13 team league, which is quite a bit. We've got a season currently going right now that's going to last about 2 months. And we've got many things planned. And we've got our current prize, without any entry fees, mind you, just from donations and the help of the community, is over $800.
I think that sort of just shows you that there is a competitive scene, but it's sort of, I guess it's not always, people aren't always looking at the competitive scene for Battlefield 5, so it's just nice for someone like you to just explain the sort of competitive scene, and it seems to me, like what you're saying, that there's definitely a lot of interest in competitive Battlefield 5.
Oh yes, absolutely. There are many people interested in it. There's just people that are currently, even some of our best teams, that are taking a break waiting for RSP, and that's just that's the thing that's hurting us the most right now, is the lack of RSP. And honestly, yeah, that's pretty much all the people ever complain about, is lack of RSP. But DICE, please, if you're listening to this, please give us RSP. I know that they've been having meetings about it, but
I think hopefully with this interview we can sort of give competitive play a good name for Battlefield, because I don't think anyone's really talking about competitive play at the moment. So it's quite nice and refreshing to hear from, say, you, someone who's, quite big in the competitive scene, for you to come and, say, talk about how the competitive scene's doing in Battlefield 5.
Oh yeah, and thank you so much for having me. It's a real help to the Battlefield community to have a player, a YouTuber like you to give a little bit of insight onto how things are doing to the rest of the community as well. It's just really helpful.
Thanks for watching this video, and I really appreciate him for taking that time to really explain and give a voice for Battlefield 5 competitive play. This video was quite a long one, so I really hope that you stuck to the end, because there is a lot of details in here. If you went on to enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, have a good one.